Thanks to Tom for setting this day up. Thank you, Tom.
My pleasure.
And thank you to the guys, Tom Wright and Sid, come in a bit later. And thank you to Rich for bringing these guys down, getting them along. Should be a good fun day. Be as active and interactive as you can. Try and learn off of each other and get what you can from each other's experiences. You generally find you'll do a lot of your learning off of each other through the day. So try and share your experiences as much as you can. Right, first thing we're going to do is just going to hand over to Matt, who's going to give us a quick introduction.
I think Greg's pretty much covered it.
Oh, yeah,
Hello. I'll repeat everything that Greg said to me. No, thank you for coming. Hopefully you're going to be able to pass this on to all the other coaches that haven't made it today. And if you're anything like me, you're going to be full of questions, and I'm sure that the coaches are going to be more than keen to answer those. So do that, and anything that you can relate to club or anything that maybe doesn't come up that you've got questions about regarding stuff that goes on at the club or county or district, do bring it up. We've got the beauty of having this time with these guys and their experiences, so yeah, I would make the most of it. And everything else that Greg said.
For me, days like this are very much about sharing. Okay, I've come down here to share the ideas of the way that I work, things that are successful. But what's really nice is that I'm now in front of a bunch of new faces who I'm sure will have their own ideas as well. Okay? I don't want us to leave at the end of the day and think, well, that's the right way, that's the wrong way. Okay? There's just some ways that we will look at and share. And no doubt there might be ideas that you have that I can build into the training and the coaching that I do as well. What we'll do, we'll touch on, just slightly to begin with, we'll touch on the beginning of the innings. Okay, game plans at the start of the innings for our opening batters. Possibly a top four. So I think it's very important that your 3, 4, and even 5 to an extent have an understanding of what we should be looking to do at the start. So at this point, I'm going to throw it over to you. Hands up, someone tell me, what do we think our plan should be for our batters at the start of the innings? What's going to be in their heads?
What's the pitch like?
Absolutely.
And conditions as well?
Yeah, an assessment of conditions.
I guess it's an assessment of the surroundings, because I look after the girls, the under 13 county girls, and even like the use of side screens. A number of times I've had to get the girls to have a look at the pitch and right, what can we see from down the bowlers end, because half of them wouldn't even thought about saying, well, should we get the side screen across, things like that. So
no, I'm delighted with the first 2 points you raised. Anybody else? I mean, let's go on a bit beyond that.
Yeah, maybe what have the opposition got? Have they got spin bowlers or are they all seam bowlers?
Okay.
And again, women's cricket. So some teams you come up against, they've got 4 or 5 spinners, maybe only one seam. Obviously true as well.
Yeah, so prior knowledge of the opposition, does count for something. Whether that's the be all and end all, I'm not sure, but it certainly counts for something. So far, what we're saying is, let's assess the conditions, let's assess the pitch. We're making perhaps before that first ball's bowled, we're still making a bit of a guess as to what's going to happen. But let's say now our opening batters, they're striding to the crease, full of confidence, hopefully. What would we expect their game plan to be prior to facing the first ball?
Probably, I imagine they're thinking they're on caution at the end of the day. Play it safe at the start.
Yeah, why is that?
They want to test the conditions further, probably more than anything. Let's say a pitch has been damp for a few days. You want to see what movement there is in the air.
Absolutely. I put here, tactics. It's so important. This is the question I asked to batters a lot. What's your plan? And the first thing they say is, so you've not got a plan? It's got to be like that straight away. I think almost actually just going ahead a little bit. One of the best things that happened to cricket is 2020. You know, we used to have the situation where, and we've all experienced it, between the overs, the batters go to each other and they go, right, well, we'll hit the bat ball and we'll keep out the good one. Brilliant. Genius plan, that. Okay, but now it's more about, right, well this guy I'm finding a bit easier, I'm going to look to attack this bowler. The field's a bit deeper that side, smaller boundary there, we can get singles hit and so on and so on and so on. And if that's not in their head straight away, well, they're not going to play. What I would say to my batters, not just at the start of the innings, but for the majority of the game, your job is to get as many as you can risk-free. Okay? And I think as many as you can is really important. Sometimes I will see a batter, they may hit the first ball for 4, and they get a boundary early in the start of the over. They block the rest of the over. What if they could have hit another 2 boundaries? Have they actually got as many as they could risk-free? But sometimes they might face the bowler and think, oh my God, this guy's a bit difficult, he's a bit quick, he's turning it quite a lot, whatever it might be. And at that moment in time, as many as you can, risk-free might be, blooming heck, I've got a 5 here. You know, and a maiden might be okay. You know, the number of times I have to say to a batter, it's all right to have a maiden. Okay. What sort of, and this is very general because it's very difficult to put an exact sort of figure on it, but what sort of run rate would we be looking for in the first 20 overs of a 50 over game? Throw that out to me. What are your thoughts? Pause.
I sit back to what I said at the start, it just depends on the pitch and what.
Absolutely. When does that assessment of what we can achieve start? The very first ball. Alright. We see the carry, we see the pace, we see the swing, what the pitch did. You know, we want these batters to quickly be making a judgment of what's happening. One thing I think is extremely important is singles as well. Tell me about getting singles. If you were going to help players, what are your suggestions to them?
Know when you're going to know where the ball's going, and you're going to be setting off straight away. Have it in mind to be setting off straight away.
Absolutely.
If it goes there, I'm going.
Yeah, so assume we're opening the batting, we're probably facing a quick bowler. Where are these singles going to be?
Square and line.
Could be. Yeah, could be. And the reason I started to say could be, and then actually perhaps lent towards you a little bit more, was because of course there's going to be gaps. Right? And if the ball goes into a gap, that's a bit of a no-brainer. We're going to run a single, or more if it carries on rolling across the square. But where I lent towards you was when we bat, if we imagine we have like a 3 metre circle, and then we've got the 30-yard circle. And what I talk about with batters sometimes is that gap between the 3 metre and 30-yard circle. I talk about that as being sort of no man's land. Right? Nothing good comes from that, because if you're hitting it hard enough to go into that area, not out the 30-yard circle, you won't get a single, because it'll get to the fielder quick enough that they can pick it up and get it back. And also, you're probably hitting it with enough oomph, but if you do make a mistake, catch it a bit early, leading edge, whatever, it might just carry. So what I talk about with my players is if we're going to defend, defending's not just about staying in. It is about getting runs as well. When you defend, keep it in the 3 metre circle. Then if the keeper's back, it doesn't matter that it's gone in line with fielders. You can run. And then if you're not going to keep it in that 3 metre circle, you make sure you hit it hard enough to get it out of that 30-yard circle. Okay, whether that's on the floor, in the air, if it's out that 30-yard circle, who cares? Okay. I think often those balls that are caught, and not exclusively so, because cricket is not a black and white game, but often those balls that are sort of caught in the covers early on or at square leg are those little pushes. And there's just not the sort of the drive, the intent to go, actually, do you know what, reasonable ball, dot, 1. Or, is it comfortable? I am going to belt it. And then what the players will do is they make that judgment of, am I getting enough balls that I can belt? Or if not, fine. But I'm not just going to, block up an end, maiden after maiden. Each time I hit it, or it hits me, we're looking for a run. Okay? And then just maybe the field come in a little bit, and you might get a few easier chances to get it through the 30-yard circle as well. What they must also do as well is talk to each other. Talk with your mate down the other end. You know, we will have all seen it, whereas yes, no, and off they go. Tell your mate, get them backing up. It irritates me intensely that I don't see batters backing up. So then even if you arrive after the first over, first ball, whatever it might be, second over, and your two batters are thinking, oh my gosh, this is difficult, it doesn't matter. We can still tick the runs along with singles. But then, like I said, at the same time, I would be equally disappointed if, as I said earlier, if they got 3 when they could have hit a few boundaries as well. And this is the really tough thing about cricket. It's making the right decision at the right time, and also understanding that we play a game with a hell of a lot of variables. Right? The pitch varies. We're playing a ball with a seam on it. It's not even round. Okay, it'll go to the right, it'll go to the left, up, down. So this is the exciting thing about cricket. But the point here is, even from the very first ball, you must have educated your players in a way that as they stride to the crease, whether they're number 1, 2, even down to number 11, they are actively thinking about what they must do right now, what the best thing is. If we're trying to get as many runs as we can risk-free, how am I going to get those runs? And also remembering as well, try and get them to think beyond some very simple things, but also thinking about, okay, which bowler do I find easiest? Because that might be different to my mate down the other end. Okay, and just because he's whacking that bowler, is that the best thing for me? Because if it's not the best thing for me and I get out, is that the best thing for the team? Okay. And what we'll find is the best cricketers are used to watching, thinking cricketers. And that's what I try ever so hard to install within all the players that I've as far as striking the ball accurately and sweetly, there's some very generic things, not just in cricket, but most striking sports, that will allow our players to hit a ball sweetly and time it well. But very often it's just the shot selection, the tactics that might just let them down. Now I'm very keen to progress the innings. We're getting to the middle, the spinners are on. But does anyone want to just raise anything about the start of the innings at the moment and game plans?
Would you ever see someone coming in as like a pinch hitter to try and get the game off to a cracking start?
I think it's really interesting. I think pinch hitting was something that, we know that's the Sri Lankan team with that World Cup, they sort of introduced it. And I actually think we've sort of, particularly the way cricket's going, perhaps not so much the test matches, but all other cricket, the majority of your batters will score at a rate. I think if you watch club league cricket now, the 18 to 20 year olds that are playing, they are the start of that 2020 generation. Now I can remember, and I'm sure you guys will, going back not too many years, if you scored 180, you probably won. But we look at the league scores this year, that you get to 240, and if you're then bowling second, so you batted first, you scored 240, you go out, and you're sort of thinking, we've got bowled well here. And the scores are 300 and lose. When I say it in the nets in the practice, okay, you miss hit that, you are out. We're going to keep doing that shot, and you are just going to get better at it. For all the sort of good players that I've seen come through and are looking at gaining contracts and whatever else, I see very, very few classic, orthodox, steady type batters. I know our guys are physically fitter and stronger and whatever now, but I think it's really important we do teach our players and give them the opportunity to practice hitting the ball hard and just getting good at it. So batting against spin, and of course we'll include some game plans against spin as well. Just with the person next to you as a 2 or a 3, just discuss and share your experiences with each other, and then we'll sort of come together again to discuss our experiences of, now this can be either yourself batting against spin, or it can be your players that you've worked with. Okay, go. So just share with me some of your experiences of batting against spin, of coaching these players to bat against spin. What have you come across? What's happened? Fear. Absolutely. Yeah.
Fear of your spin.
Fear, and to an extent, nerves. All right. I think sometimes nervousness can be a bit of fear, but yeah, fear.
It's interesting though, because if you do get fearful or you get nerves, it's harder to use your feet and make those positive quick movements, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, spin coming on, what do I do? And they get rooted to the spot, you know, and that's it.
I think as coaches, we need, like you get the whole kind of pitch maps and we start to work out where the ball lands. I think also at times, it's important that as much as we hear, we must get to the pitch of the ball. We don't do that very often. We can't do that because we've not got jolly green giant legs. Okay? Perhaps we can get to the line of the ball sometimes. And I do think there is occasional opportunity where spin is concerned, that fast ball, among said, if it is that little bit fuller of a good length, you might just have that extra stride to get out and cover it. But I think a lot of the time, we don't actually step to the pitch of the ball because we can't reach that far. Okay? And I think actually is a limiting point on how our batters will, I won't say defend, but certainly hit a ball hard. When we start thinking about, because they end up coaching a lot of players where they have great big strides. And because of that, you end up being in the middle a little bit. And you meet the ball with quite a flat back and quite a weak point of where you would hit it. Just because it's running in that, step to the pitch of the ball, step to the pitch of the ball, have a big stride. Okay? It's much more important, especially if we're looking at power, alright, that we're able to just transfer a bit of momentum, a bit of weight into the contact. And that's going to come with, as I described to the players, a comfortable stride. And I do think getting to the line is very important. I work with players on getting to the line a lot. You'll see players outside the line slightly, nicking it, slicing it, ball between bat and pad, things like that. But I do also agree, there is that one ball where you can just reach a bit further and kill it. Okay, against spin. Wouldn't happen against pace. Okay.
I suppose that's another thing as well, looking recent, especially with the DRS, not wanting to overcommit too much, so you're able to play out in front a little bit more rather than bat and pad together as well.
And I think as well, we certainly see that talked about more with DRS. And what Greg's talking about is actually defending, so your bat is in front of your pad. You know, we've heard before, bat and pad together, don't let that ball go through. Okay. But actually, we should have come about that before in the sense of not getting out, but if our bat is in front of our pad, we will get more runs. We'll get more runs because sometimes we nick it, we inside edge it. Right. If our bat and pad is together and we inside edge it, where does the ball go? Hits us nowhere. Okay. If our bat is in front of us, as we inside edge it, let's not beat it up first, we're not going to have the ball in the middle of the bat. Okay. If we inside edge it, there it goes. And we get a 1, we get a 2 sometimes. We're getting accidental runs. Happy days. Alright? But again, that's part of the tactic. I will always work with players, especially batters. It is about giving yourself the best chance. Okay, as I said earlier, there's so many variables in cricket. The height of the ball, how it moves, the pace, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, we do